In Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this July 16th at 6 o'clock this morning. And it's time to check on in with meteorologist Jim Caldwell for a look at that forecast. Jim.
Thunderstorms going to be back in the area again today, and because of that and a series of them all lining up here over the next several days, we are going to go into first alert weather day mode around here. So what that ultimately means is we're getting rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Well, we've already had that every single day. It's rained somewhere in our area here in the mountains, and then you're going to get even more though. Torrential rains will come in waves over time. Some flash flooding could show up. And then you're going to get dry hours in there too. So it's not just locked in on the wet side. We'll look at our weather headlines. First alert weather days continue. Rounds of storms likely and those local flash flood issues. Those are our concerns. And look at this. As we go through the day today, you're going to get those showers and storms that start firing up again. Outside of any of those, we still have a chance to run up close to 85, 90 degrees. So certainly something we will be watching and monitoring for you over the next several days.
Police in Los Angeles say an arrest has been made after an American Idol executive and her husband were shot and killed in their home. The bodies of longtime American Idol music producer Robin Kay and her husband were both found when officers conducted a welfare check. The deaths are being investigated as a double homicide. An American Idol spokesman issued a statement saying in part, quote, "Robin was truly loved and respected by all who came into contact with her, and she will remain in our hearts forever." The Pike County School District is hoping to provide a pathway to success for students, incorporating the state's Portrait of a Learner vision. The Kentucky Department of Education visited Pike Central High School yesterday, bringing in community members to discuss the district's portrait. The mission of the program is to support student success, design real-world learning experiences, and partner with stakeholders to make sure students are ready for every new day.
Bringing everyone to the table, we often hear that people want the same things. Community members want the same things. Parents want the same things. Our students want the same things for themselves. And this just gives us a chance to have those raw, honest conversations.
The meeting was the third development meeting for the Pike County Portrait of a Learner. Artificial intelligence continues to be a hot topic nationwide, with some folks worrying about job security with this increase in AI. I was at Hazard Community and Technical College to learn more about what faculty and staff are doing to train students for future-proof jobs. Shane Cole is starting his first few classes as a nurse aide student at Hazard Community and Technical College. He tells me using artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT has become instrumental as he works to learn medical terminology.
If there's something I have a question about, I'll be like, hey, what is this? And then it'll be like, oh, okay, I'll give it to you a nice laid back way. And that's the way it says it. And then it tells me, and then it gives me some like examples and hyperlinks.
According to ChatGPT's developers, OpenAI, the site is described as an interactive, conversational AI chatbot. Now, OpenAI goes on to say that ChatGPT can answer follow-up questions, admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises, and reject inappropriate requests. Assistant nursing professor Ashley Gay says she utilizes AI tools while teaching.
And it really just kind of takes out the monotony of just listening to a boring lecture, and you can have AI as an assistant, so to speak, to make things creative and come to life in the classroom.
I asked Gay to run me through how nursing students might be using the AI chatbot.
This is just a common question you can ask. Help me understand.
And so with that, how accurate would you say, just kind of glancing as you are, would you say it's pretty accurate?
I would say this is in line with their textbook. This is accurate.
Cole says studying while using artificial intelligence has streamlined his process, especially with the ChatGPT app, always having it right in his pocket.
It's a very useful tool, and I think it should be utilized as much as possible, but responsibly. It's up to you to do the right thing with it, just like anything else.
While it can be a tool in the classroom, Gay wants her students to use AI to augment their learning, not replace it. double-checking everything ChatGPT comes up with.
Don't be afraid of change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. We're meant to propel forward and have change. There's a reason that medicine has evolved into what it is today versus what they did back in Florence Nightingale's time.
Cole and Gay both say they're excited to see what the future holds for AI in both training nurses and jobs in the healthcare field. Gay also adds that in terms of nursing, it would be basically impossible to cheat on a test using AI. She says you either know the information or you don't. Well, the White House can move forward with a plan to lay off Department of Education workers after a new Supreme Court ruling. The originally planned mass layoffs of the DOE were previously blocked by a federal judge, but in a 6-3 vote, the court granted an emergency application to block that ruling. The conservative majority did not provide an explanation for their decision. The U.S. Justice Department is asking federal agencies to cut the number of multilingual services that they offer. The new memo comes months after President Donald Trump signed an executive order that designated English as the official language of the U.S. The memo also says agencies can redirect the money to programs that will improve English proficiency and assimilation. Well, Kentucky joined 23 other states in suing the Trump administration over its move to freeze nearly $7 billion in education funding. That lawsuit argues that Congress approved the funding, so the freeze violates federal statutory and regulatory requirements. Governor Andy Beshear says $87 million was set to go to the Kentucky school districts. The lawsuit also claims states approved the funding prior to the freeze. Governor Beshear released a statement commenting on the lawsuit, saying in part, quote, "Our kids and our future depend on a strong education, and these funds are essential to making sure our kids succeed." The Kentucky Department of Education is also supporting the lawsuit and wrote in part, "Instead of making final preparations to welcome students back into the classroom, many of our schools are developing plans to reduce staff, cancel programs, and eliminate student support if these federal funds are not immediately released to Kentucky." A group of lawmakers say the U.S. needs to shift away from policies as a way to lower crime rates. Members of Congress held a news conference on Capitol Hill Tuesday alongside several advocacy groups, including Moms Rising. The lawmakers say the United States has too high of an incarceration rate despite still having high levels of crime. They argue the system punishes minorities and say an evidence-informed approach should prioritize care, connection, and prevention over punishment, control, and isolation. They say investing more in communities would make people safer than the current criminal justice system. The ACLU of Kentucky is asking a judge to stop a new law that prevents Kentucky inmates from receiving gender-affirming care. The lawsuit filed by a transgender inmate named Madeline Markham claims the state has denied her access to hormone therapy. Markham says she needs the therapy to treat a diagnosis of gender dysphoria. The lawsuit claims there are at least 66 current prisoners in the Department of Corrections who are being denied access to care. Senator Rand Paul is worried about a new federal proposal that could impact Kentucky farmers. Senator Paul spoke about President Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill Monday. This includes provisions related to the federal farm bill. On the table right now in the farm bill is a move to make hemp-derived cannabinoid products containing quantifiable amounts of THC illegal. Senator Paul says Kentucky's hemp industry would be greatly impacted by this legislation.
I'm very, very worried about the hemp industry. The current language in the Farm Bill would kill the hemp industry. And this is a billion-dollar industry. Kentucky's got some of it. It's lawful, it's legal, it's selling things that are useful and the public want. And I'm for the hemp industry, and I will do everything I can to try to keep that language out of the Farm Bill.
Senator Paul says he still maintains a good working relationship with the president despite their differences. Governor Andy Beshear says the state's medical cannabis program reached another milestone. Armory Kentucky LLC in Mayfield introduced the first medical cannabis inventory in Kentucky history. Governor Beshear says more licenses, processors, and testing labs are expected to begin operations in the weeks to come. To date, the governor's office says the state has licensed 81 businesses and registered more than 400 medical cannabis practitioners. Later today, President Donald Trump is expected to meet with the leader of Qatar as he continues his push for an Israel-Gaza ceasefire, as well as a nuclear deal with Iran. Russia is rejecting the president's ultimatum for a ceasefire with Ukraine. The president threatened new sanctions if no deal is reached in 50 days. Authorities in Moscow called the demands unacceptable. The president says he hasn't spoken to Russian leader Vladimir Putin since announcing the proposal, laying out a plan to sell weapons to NATO for Ukraine on Monday. Well, thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning at 6:10. Kentucky lawmakers were told